it's an honor to be here. Pardon me, I'm a bit like architect Adilayo mentioned. I'm not so great at public speaking, but I'll do my best.
This is the next slide.
Okay.
Next slide.
Okay, next slide. Thank you. Okay, so I think I want to start by thanking architect Adilaoye. He gave me some comfort when he came here and said, you know, he struggles with public speaking sometimes and ended up killing it, so it's encouraging. So I'll start by saying I think following Adilaoye, mine might feel a bit challenging because I'm not sure how I want to stitch all the things I want to tell you today, but I hope I'll be able to do justice to it. Let me just start. I'll be reading from some notes on my phone too, just to help me guide my thoughts. So I chose the topic, architecture and maritime industry in Lagos, fostering a meaningful relationship between the citizens and Lagos water. And one of the reasons I chose that, like I said, or like they read out, is because of my where I found myself now in terms of my professional career and what I do. So I want to thank everyone again for having me here today at the NIA Lagos Forum. And I'm excited to share my thoughts on how the intersection of architecture and the marine industry, with a focus on the impact of the marine industry on architecture and urban planning in Lagos. So I'll start by saying Lagos is a coastal, I'm not sure if this is down, okay. Okay, it's a PDF, so permits me. So I start by saying Lagos is a coastal city with a thriving maritime industry that plays a significant role in the city's economy. However, the industry's impact on urban transportation in Lagos is often overlooked. And the reason why I said that is because, like we know, a good part of Lagos is covered by water. And we struggle with having the transportation system that we have now, with traffic and all that. Let me give a brief history of Lagos. Lagos initially emerged as a port city. And as a port city, it was a collection of islands: Lagos Island, Etiosa, Amuwo, Dofin, and Apapa. The islands are separated by creeks, and at the mouth of the lagoon, and the Atlantic Ocean by the way of the islands. So the city's location is very crucial in its economic state, obviously from the ports and how we've had to manage livelihood of the early settlers. Let me go to the next slide. So I'll try to combine, like I said, it's kind of a struggle, but I'll try to combine some pictures with all I'm saying. The picture I put there is, I just put that there because there was a photography competition hosted by Etisalat a few years ago about Lagos and the mega city. And that's the picture that won second place. And I think it was profound because this picture was taken before the Lekki Ikoyi Bridge was launched. And you have the local fisherman, and the composition just said a lot, Next slide. Okay, I think I'm strong. Yeah. Okay. Okay, just press it once.
Just press it.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. I have to pay for it. Pardon me.
Just press it once. You're pressing here.
Okay.
Not here. Just
Pardon me, okay.
just this. Or do you want us to do it for you then?
Maybe. I think
Just
I'll
in next slide.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Pardon me, everyone. I'm surprised I'm struggling with it. Okay, yes, please. Let me. So the introduction, like I said, let me just read out from here and try and use the pictures to explain, if that's okay. So like I said in the introduction, previous slide, please. In the introduction, the maritime industry has played a significant role in shaping Lagos and architecture and urban transportation. I meant that in reference to the ports. Like I said, Lagos is a port city. A lot of the economic activities of Lagos is centered around the ports of Lagos, the Apapa port. Today we'll be discussing the intersection of architecture and the marine industry in Lagos. Waterways play a vital role in the life of Lagos, and we'll be exploring how we can leverage them for sustainable development. Like I said, the reason I chose this topic is because of where I found myself professionally at the moment. Please, next slide. So what I've shown here is the background of Lagos, like I mentioned. Lagos initially emerged as a port city, which originated as a collection of islands. The Lagos Island, Etiosa, Amo-Odofi, and Apapa. The early settlers of Lagos were drawn to the area because of its proximity to the water. And they recognized the importance of the water for transportation, trade, and fishing. Like Fela said, water doesn't have enemy. Water is like life. Everything about our life is centered around water, even the blood in our veins. It is estimated that the water covering makes up approximately 22% of Lagos State. I tried to show the map to see how the water connects every part of Lagos, or most parts of Lagos. And it's unfortunate that at where we are at as a state, we've not been able to maximize the use of these waterways that connects us. Next slide, please. So the relevance. I put there rising sea levels because these are global conversations that are happening already. It is important that we can also talk about it in context. We know how flooding affects us, regardless of where you live in Lagos. When there's small rain, the traffic that builds up, it's a lot of things to think about and discuss. So rising sea levels can have a significant impact on coastal cities like Lagos, which is low-lying and already prone to flooding. In Lagos, there's a need to create a more harmonious relationship with the city and its waterways. So like I said, you have to pardon me if my thoughts would look fragmented, but obviously maybe from the questions we can try and stitch it together. The reason why I said that is because one of the goals of this presentation is not just about talking of Lagos and the transportation. I also want us to, I find that one of the challenges we have with people being connected to the water transport system is because they are not so familiar with it. I think we've lost something. I felt like Actor Adelaoye mentioned earlier, when he was born in Lagos, the population of 1 million people. And I have a huge disconnect from that. I could only live through my principal partner, who is also an architect too, and indulges me a lot with questions about Lagos history. Next slide, please. So, solutions. By developing a water-based transportation system, Lagos can reduce traffic congestion, decrease commuting times, and improve the overall quality of life for citizens. The intermodal transport system is being developed by Lagos State to create a comprehensive transport plan that integrates water-based transportation with existing road and rail networks. Now, why I put this is because I'm excited about it. Like I tell people, the conversations about making Lagos better is not just about condemning the government. Sometimes when they come up with solutions that seem to be interesting, I think we should try to get involved. And I find that a lot of professionals cutting across different fields, we struggle. We say our government people are a certain way, or the politics is there. And that's a fact, but it still shouldn't hinder us from trying to get involved. So next slide, please. So some of the solutions I'm preferring in my presentation is the use of floating parks. I'm still an architect, and it's exciting to design interesting solutions to problems of this environment or the society. Now, the picture I put there is a picture from an architect who designed these floating parks from recycled plastic. And even at the least, most of what it could do is even engage the public. I'm saying the public can get there and have a little connection with the water in a different way apart from it just visually or just seeing it as something that they can't be a part of. The parks will also serve as an opportunity to revitalize the waterfront and create a new public space for citizens to enjoy. Like I said, I would love that Lagos can get to a point where some of these vast waterways that we have that connects us, we could establish things like this that allow the community communicate with the water and engage with it, for lack of a better word. Next slide, please. So the next slide is about amphibious houses. And I think this conversation is usually in architect circles, we could talk about this for years. By allowing residents to remain in their homes during times of high water and adaptation to changing climate patterns, amphibious houses can be an important tool for increasing resilience and managing risk in vulnerable areas. So the reason why I put this, I'm sure most of us are familiar with Kunmi Adeyemi's floating school, and that brought some public attention to the community of Makoko. Unfortunately, I feel that conversation kind of died down. On the bottom end, I put the design of an architect that I found quite fascinating, where he had designed this luxury house in such a way that it works like a vessel. So when the area floods, the house literally floats above it, and the water is still part of the landscape. These are ideas, I think, for us as Lagos architects, living in Lagos and working in Lagos, we should learn to explore things like this and try to do more. Next slide, please. So the wetlands are, wetlands serve as a natural flood protection by absorbing excess water and reducing the risk of flooding. They also serve as a habitat for various wildlife species and can improve the overall water quality of the surrounding area. Now, I'm quite pleased that during my research, I was able to add this to the slide because during architect Adelaoye's presentation, he had mentioned the way the Ikoyi Park used to function and how it was, and how Lagos had floodgates, and when there was a challenge, the water kind of comes through, comes to Ikoyi Park. And why I was excited, like I said, is because he had also mentioned that in some of these conversations, architects have to be on top of it. A lot of times we are slotted in when the whole plans have been made. And it's important that we get to engage ourselves and fix ourselves so that when these conversations happen, we have some kind of input at the crucial stage. I think the key word is the crucial stage. Next slide, please. So my next slide is about Indegeonus Boat building. And the reason why I added it, those are pictures from the Lagos Water Regatta. And I've been privileged to attend about 2 of them or so. And I found it very fascinating to know that we can connect our communities with activities like this. I think the Lagos state should find ways to bring this back and have people engage and feel more familiarized with the water. I remember then witnessing the swimming race. And I was fascinated that people could actually swim from Ikoyi Bridge almost all the way to, I can't remember the end, but it was literally, it was literally fascinating to have people swimming in the open water like that. So the local building can provide a source of employment and economic opportunity for the city's residents. These boats can be used for transportation, fishing, recreation, further strengthening the city's connection to the water. Next slide, please. So this slide, commercial boat building. Like I said, I would like that Lagos State can reintroduce the water regatta because it's important that the people can connect back to their roots and their connection with the water. Like I said, Lagos State is a portal city, or is a port city, and I feel there's some level of disconnect to that, even as the city evolves and accommodates a lot more people. So this slide is to show that a lot of activities around professional boat building can happen even within Lagos as a port city. So it is important to ensure that these boats are designed and constructed to meet local safety and environmental standards, and that workers involved in the building process are adequately trained and protected. Now, what that happens, like I said, with the regatta, if you encourage more people to, if you encourage more locals to engage in the building process and having all those activities with the water, the prayer is that we can evolve to that state where we build, more robust water transport vessels, and that also allows us as architects to engage in how boat houses are built and how amphibious houses are built, and even being a part of processes like this and how the city would connect. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, as we look to the future of Lagos, we must recognize that creating a more sustainable and resilient city that celebrates its connection to the water requires collaborative effort from all stakeholders. It's only through this cooperation that we can achieve our goals. There's a popular African saying that says, if you want to go fast, you walk alone, and if you want to go far, you go together. I think as architects, we need to collaborate more, even with professionals outside our field. Like I said, the task to get Lagos to where it should be is not a one-person effort or a one professional effort. It's not just the urban planners, it's not just the engineers, it's not just the politicians, it's everyone, architects, professionals alike. Thank you very much. I think that comes.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for Kunmi. Please hold on. Okay. Please, students that are here on the gallery, could you please move down to the exhibition floor? The shower is about to start. Thank you very much. The beauty of the Lagos Architects Forum, as you can see now, is we're having an infusion of the younger generation of architects, don't you think? I mean, we're not trying to disconnect from the older ones. We love you, we want to be with you, but we like that we're infusing with the younger generation. Thank you, Kunmi. So I'll hand over to the chairman of session for today, and he can continue with the roundtable discussions following the presentation.
Architecture and the marine industry. A beautiful paper presentation by Kunmi Agbaje, where he has talked about the need to connect the beautiful waterways of Lagos to the city. We are expected to also take the roundtable discussion, but at the same time, I will be able to squeeze in some questions on the presentation that has just been delivered. So I can manage 2 questions. Professor, sir, this time around, I will crave your indulgence to make it a question. 30 seconds presentation. Okay, I will oblige the prof 30 seconds.
Yes, 30 seconds. I'm going to give, not him alone, because it gives me a challenge, and I'm happy the head of the Department of Architecture, University of Lagos is here. Dr. Nweka, where are you? Okay. Now,
we have roundtable discussion.
yes, what I want to
Immediately,
say is this.
that's why I want to squeeze in 2 questions for him, and then we'll do roundtable discussion.
What I want to say is this. What he has brought, I want him to convert it to PhD. This is an empirical data, narrowed down to a particular thing. All he needs is for him to start from general to that particular. And I can assure you, good enough, you know, he got his master's from me. So the master's degree in Unilag is both academic and professional. So he's professional qualified. And that master's professionally qualified him to go to PhD. He doesn't have to go through MPhil, direct to PhD. So please, and Egbon Menilaoye too. Yes, please, I want him to also, you know, we talk about that. That's my comments.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud of you. That's great. That's great.
So, any question on this presentation? All right. We will just I hope architect Ade is not going yet. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. You can have your seat there, please. Okay, yes, it's fine. Okay, a question there. Architect Bamidele. Okay, no, it's not. Okay. All right, can you hand over the mic for her? The mic, we have a question from the audience.
My name is Abiodun Wilson, an architect by profession and a writer. So my question is, the materials you're going to use for such floating cities and all that, how can we be able to ensure that over time they last? Thank you.
I think I'll try to answer this question in two ways. The first one is, when it comes to floating houses, when you go to places like Makoko, some of those structures have been there for years. These are like indigenous methods of using wood to build houses that actually sit on the water. And what I think I found challenging is that nobody has ever taken time to explore those things. We don't document, we don't preserve our history in that sense. So, like I said, it's two parts. The first question is, that's a solution already staring at us. We can explore that and find out how these communities have survived, and not just in Lagos, different parts of the country, how they've been able to survive living on the water. The second answer is, the world is fast, it's evolving so fast. There are so many materials being explored, so many solutions. These days, people talk about 3D printed houses. You could impute components in 3D printing machines that actually can print a floating house. People print boats. So that's the answer right there. That it's not so much about the question. Yes, it's not so much about the little components of it. It's about the action in itself. So I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a roundtable discussion where, remember, it is all about discussing Lagos as an evolving organism. We've had the first presentation and we've had the second presentation. Now we want to now talk about synergy. Is there any way we can synergize points taken from the first presentation and the second presentation with specific reference to the master plan of Lagos? Is there in existence a master plan guiding the development of Lagos presently, or is there any being developed to guide future development of Lagos? I will put this question to you, architect. Yes, you.
Thank you. You don't want me to stand up, or I should sit down?
As you wish, you can sit.
Okay.
If you want.
Okay. Yes, I'm aware there was a master plan for Lagos. I don't know how old it was, but I know that, yes, I think we should let Town Planner Ide answer that question on the master plan for Lagos, sir. Would you?
Yes, by all means.
Yes.
This roundtable discussion is by no means limited to just
I'll let
the
Town
paper
Planner answer.
presenters.
Go on,
Yeah.
sir. Then I'll continue.
Thank you. Now that I know that the table is round.
It's fully round.
Now, in 1980, there was a regional plan that was made for Lagos State. The regional plan covers the whole of the state. In the same 1980, a master plan for metropolitan Lagos, that is a region from that bigger region, was made. That master plan subdivided Lagos into 35 districts, and there were supposed to be district plans for each of them. So it would have been like 35 cities within Lagos. It was after that that the military came, and like he said, I'm echoing him now, that the military destroyed planning. So there wasn't any other move until 1999, when a step was taken to review the regional plan. But that was also truncated. But by 2006, Lagos State now embarked on another policy. Rather than look at the plan from the general to the specific, they began to do specific and started with Lekki infrastructure plan, which caused a lot of confusion between NITP and the person who, the farm that it was awarded to, because our view is that you can't have an infrastructure plan when you don't have a land use plan. And government agreed with that. So we started with Lekki infrastructure plan, and then they went ahead to do Ikeja model city plan,
Then they went ahead to award the Mainland Central Model City Plan, the Badagry Master Plan, Alimosho Master Plan. So invariably, for the various segments of Lagos now, there is either a master plan or a master plan is being prepared. For example, Ikorodu master plan has not been finalized. Ekpe is under works. But that regional plan that ties everything together is absent. And we must necessarily go from the general to the specific so that we can tie everything together. That's the missing link right now as far as master plans is concerned. And that leaves us with something that he showed us on a piecemeal, which I would like to say. I've always seen Lagos as a planner. I've always seen Lagos State as a very big market for urban regeneration. It's because even those things we call as development are not coordinated. And we really need to re-evolve what Lagos will be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is quite insightful. Okay, Architect.
Yes, on the back of what Tampla Idea said, and the question you asked regarding a synergy between the two presentations, I think what my colleague has presented regarding the waterways is clearly the way forward for Lagos, and that has been underdeveloped. In my initial discussion, I told you how Lagos evolved, and I want to just give a small anecdote, and my seniors here will correct me if I'm wrong. Lagos is actually a series of islands, even though the sand filling and dredging has distorted it. But Lagos Island, Ikoyi, VI are all separate islands. If you look at the original in the 70s, to get from Obalende to the island, to get from Awolowo Road to Oniko, you actually cross two bridges. But dredging has distorted those bridges. If you leave Awolowo Road and you pass the old nurses hostel, and just before you get to Onikon, there's actually a canal. That canal was called the Five Kariki. It's actually a river. And there was also another bridge at Obalende. So Lagos is actually a series of islands surrounded by water. And like what the speaker said, if we do not control the dredging and the sand filling, not only are we going to have problems in terms of drainage and rainfall, we will also not be able to make use of our fantastic waterways. Because you literally can go around each island by boat, and that will assist us with the transportation problem we have. Even up to Ikorodu, you can take a boat from Ikorodu, you can go to Apapa, and that's why I told you of my vision of a suspension bridge from Oniko to Apapa. Yeah, it's a dream. But for me, I see Apapa, like Town Planner said, for regeneration, Apapa is such a beautiful place. It's just inaccessible. That's the main thing. If you had a suspension bridge across, you'll be surprised the value of land will go up, the quality of the space will go up. So I think the synergy between the two discussions is that the regional master plan are looking for, the general master plan are looking for, must take into consideration the waterways, must try and reopen waterways. My final comment is, on our work at the National Theatre, the reason the National Theatre land is waterlogged and it is soaked, we actually lent it, sir, Town Planner Ide, we lent it from the regional plan, that there used to be something called the Ebute Meta Creek and Canal. That canal ran through the National Theatre, and it was a waterway, but development blocked it, and the sedimentation is what created that water pond in the National Theatre. So that creek runs from across, from the lagoon, all the way through Yaba and opens up at the other side. But over the last 30 years, sedimentation, development has blocked it, and that is a major problem of our drainage. So that is the synergy between our two discussions. Waterways are very important, master plan are very important to ensure that we get this solution that would work. Thank you.
Sorry, sir. That place you said is blocked. As part of the mainland model city plan, it was supposed to be a canal, but that plan has not been implemented. The canal was supposed to be reopened, but the plan has not been implemented.
Yeah. Okay. I have a comment from the audience here.
Well, good afternoon, speakers, the chairman. I just want to mention that Mr. Anyide, who used to be the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, is aware that there's a document, a strategic plan for Lagos mega city, which encompasses all of these issues. And I believe it's overdue for review. You know, because what was found under Professor Mabogunje then was master plans are usually overtaken because the pace of development that people are carrying out privately is always so much more ahead of the response of government and response of we the professionals. So it was thought that it's better to have a strategic plan that covers all of these issues: waterways, transportation, sanitation, housing, issues of land jurisdiction. And there's a document domiciled in Ministry of Physical Planning in Lagos and the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, which encompasses all of it. I don't have a copy here, but if you are interested, if you get in touch with me, I will get a copy to you. Because it's unfortunate that we keep reinventing the wheel. A lot of work had gone into that strategic plan for Lagos mega city, which goes beyond Lagos into Ogun State. Because as we know, Lagos does not stop at the Kara Bridge. Lagos has gone way even into Shagamu. Lagos has gone into Ota, into Ekpe. So it's a mega city by the population being more than 10 million people. So it's good that at this forum we encourage ourselves to come together from time to time just to brainstorm and look at how we can be relevant. So we are not called at the tail end of issues, but that we really become at the beginning to participate and give the best of each of our professional expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, this contribution gets me thinking because I have heard about CBD in the first presentation, and I'm hearing about mega city. Mega city region. Okay. So, what is the relationship? How do we see CBDs appear, or are they carried along in the development?
Sorry, you see, she was part of that Professor Mabogunje committee. The committee was working on Lagos mega city region, which extended to Ifo, the western axis, and extended to Mowe in the eastern axis. But that project would have been achievable only through a tripartite union of federal, Lagos, and Ogun State governments. And one of the things that made it difficult was that, for example, the Ogun State governor then said, most of the people living there are working in Lagos, so what is his business? You know, so that was when the Lagos State governor thought, you know what, let me face my boundary. Because the Lagos mega city region goes beyond Lagos. But truthfully, the influence of Lagos goes beyond Lagos. And that's why I think some years ago, the Ogun State government and Lagos State government actually met to see whether they could have a joint action planning group, which happens in other places. Those are things that we still have to resolve. That's the much that I know about it.
Thank you very much. I wish we have, okay, all right. Final comment.
Oh, no, I hope it's not.
Yeah, go ahead. I can.
Okay, I was just going to say something about the idea of how states have challenges like that. Like you mentioned, Ogun State saying, they are working in Lagos, really what's my business? And I hope it's an interesting approach, but I thought I would share. As architects, we deal a lot with our clients directly, and that's why we're top of the pyramid, like we say. We coordinate all professionals, and we help to mediate whatever it is to achieve the goal. And I find that, like I said earlier, not an indictment, but a lot of us are not as involved as we should be. I would like that in a way, if Ogun State, I imagine that if Ogun State had an architect, and maybe not as the governor, but as a close ally or a client, and somehow we could find ways to interface things like this, I think it would make some more progress. Like Architect Adelayo had said earlier, we somehow find a way to come in the picture at the late end of it. And I think if we're there earlier, we can find ways to maybe nip this in the bud before it happens. I think that's my comment.
Thank you very much, Architect Adelayo and Architect Kunmi Agbaje. I wish we have enough time to continue, but I was informed that we have run out of time. I will be very much interested in seeing the communique that will come from the synthesis of the presentation of the first paper and the second paper. So I guess my job is done for today. One more thing? Okay. All right. Let me take this opportunity still with the powers wielded that I wield as chair to have a photo up with the two presenters, please. Okay, I would want to invite Professor Okedele to present, to make a presentation to our second paper presenter for the day. Prof.
This is a big privilege for me to present this because I'm very proud of him. And that's why I gave him that challenge. And my brother too. LAF 14O Awards, Speaker Appreciation Award. This award is presented to Kunmi Agbaje, whose father is sitting down there, watching us and recording us by the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Lagos State Chapter, in recognition of and appreciation, of your contribution as a speaker, at this 14th edition of LAF. Congratulations. Don't forget to convert your previous session to PhD.
Thank you very much, sirs. Thank you for the presentations. They were very insightful, Architect Adelayo and Architect Kunmi Agbaje.